Wait, we gotta stop talking because there's comedy happening. Yeah. You're gonna absolutely love your next comedian. You may have seen him on Netflix as a joke. Please put your hands together for Spencer Bland.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. This is so much fun. This is my first time here. This is great. I am so happy that you guys are all here. We got the Real Housewives of Covina. That's amazing. God, how many times do you have to tell someone to shut up? That is crazy. They say men don't listen. That's wild. Woo, that's fine. I'm sure we have a lot in common. I just got divorced. Hell yeah. All right. Love getting divorced. That's fun. No one knows how to respond to you saying that, okay? Because it's kind of sad, right? People approach it, they're like, you got divorced. Like, are you good? Like, do you need a hug or do you need a tug? Like, what's going on? It's very fun. Has anyone gone through a bad breakup or a divorce in here before?
Never.
All right, hell yeah. Everyone at the bar. Very fun, very fun. When you do that, all your friends in stable relationships, they come out of the woodwork, dude. They stand up, they're like, it's time to share my opinion. Dude, I was getting texts from people I hadn't talked to in months. They're like, hey, bud, let's grab a beer, all right? I remember I got a beer with my buddy Greg, and he was like, what happened? You guys look so happy on Instagram. Like, I was like, dude, we just fought all the time, you know? We just, like, couldn't reconcile, and he was like, that sucks, man. He's like, I don't get that. He's like, my wife and I, we fight all the time, but we're still married. That's not advice, dude. Are you just bragging to me right now? Like, you know how I know that's not advice? I can apply that to other things that have happened in my life, and it still doesn't work, okay? Like a few years ago, my dad passed away. That's okay, all right? You guys not laughing at it isn't gonna bring him back, all right? But like if I had like taken my friend Greg out to get drinks and told him how my dad passed away, and I was like, hey man, Tom kicked the bucket. You know, he just had a heart attack out of nowhere. It was crazy. And then my friend Greg went, that sucks, dude. I mean, my dad had a heart attack too, but he pulled through. That's fucked up, man. That's very fun. I got laid off before I moved out here. That was sick. Hell yeah. Any unemployed people? Nice. Love it. Yeah, we're at a bar on a weeknight. That rules. Hell yeah. I love it, man. I used to work from home. God, we let that go too fast, you guys. I know there was a protest yesterday. We should have been burning shit when they took working from home away from us. That's the biggest con in America, dude. Oh my, you tell me I get to make money and I don't have to put on pants and it's not porn? Okay. That fucking rules, all right? I think there's only one bad thing about working from home, and that is, I don't know if you guys have ever done it out here, but it's like, when you try to call out sick, it's a little tough, right? You know, you wake up, you hit up your boss, you're like, I'm not feeling so good, I don't think I'm gonna make it in today. And your boss is like, you're already there. Why don't you just roll into the office, okay? I'm a millennial. I got a good way to get out of working from home, though. You wake up, you hit your boss up, you go, man, the thoughts aren't feeling too good today. They're a little dark, might need a mental health day, you know? Oh, man, they're never going to ask you to prove that one, right? If you take a week off for being sick, they're going to want to see a doctor's note, right? Eventually. You know, you're like, it's squirting out of both ends. They're like, prove it, you know? Like, if you take a week off for mental health and they ask you to prove it, what are you going to do? Like, send them a picture of rope? I got to work today? All right, I'm changing my status message on the company chat to just thinking about it with the little water gun emoji, all right? Tight. Cool. Divorce. I was single for a little bit. It's cool. I got one now. I'm dating a Mexican. She's sick, dude. It's rad. Yeah. I do the voice sometimes, and she was like, you can never do that around my family. And I was like, is it because it's racist? And she said, no, it's too good. They'll like it. She's rad, man. I was dating around for a little bit. I was raised by women, so I love hanging out with women. Sick. I am a hero, yes. Divorced single mother. She was the shit. Older sister. She beat me up. That was fun. I love hanging out with women, dude. I love the way y'all talk. Oh my God, dude. I was hanging out with my girls the other day. They can take the meanest thing you've ever heard, okay? The insult that will cut you the deepest, and they can turn it into a compliment just by adding king to the end of it. Dude, I was hanging out with my friends last week, and she was telling me about this guy that she's dating. She's like, oh my God, he's so great. He's thoughtful, and he listens. And I'm like, that's the bare minimum, but okay, keep going. She's like, but like, sexually, he's just a little anxious, you know? Like, he can't get it up all the time. And without a beat, my other friend leaned forward and goes, that's okay, we love a limp dick king. That's the meanest thing I've ever heard, dude. I don't want to rule that kingdom, all right? I'll tell you that right now. A lot of nervous laughter from the dudes in here. Maybe they got some limp dick princes in the room, okay? Soon you will inherit the throne, all right? I'm 35. I miss the days when I could bust multiple times in a day. That was the best. Oh, my God. Slow burn, fun. I had the previous comic was talking about having a shitty deadbeat dad. I had a cool dad, man. Like, not to brag. Like, I didn't realize it at the time. I was too busy hating him. Okay, but you know, like, I look back at the stats now. He was fucking cool. All right. Like, you know how I know? Because growing up, I'm 35. He's dead, but still, like, I have more ex-stepmoms than ex-girlfriends. All right. My dad was blowing me out of the water, you guys. I remember when I would visit him on the weekends, he would put a sock on his door. He's like, hey, don't bother me. Like, he never gave me, like, the sex talk. I just heard it, you know? It was like an audiobook situation. Also, I feel like he just looked at me and he was like, I got a chubby son who likes Lord of the Rings. I can skip this talk. I do remember one time, because I grew up, like I got the internet at the same time that I hit puberty, which is just, that was the fucking gold rush for millennial dudes. Just going to sex.org, that was amazing, dude. So much fun. And I remember, like, I also was a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and you know, when you're a little boy, you're a gremlin, and I was like, do these characters ever fuck? And on the internet, they do. And I didn't know what search history was, and I didn't clear it out after using the family computer. My dad had never talked about sex, but one morning at breakfast, he walked up to the counter and just walked up and went, hey, that shit ain't cool, and then he just went to work. It's the only time he ever talked to me about sex. It was very fun. I was stressing my parents out a lot. I got white boy arrested a bunch. Does anybody know what that is? No, there's no white guys in here. White boy arrested is when you do something illegal and the cops show up and they just take you home. Yeah, in the early 2000s, the cops were just Uber for me, you guys. It was rad. I was stressing my parents out. I remember one time they were like, we got to put this kid in an after-school program. They put me in Boy Scouts, except I didn't know what Boy Scouts was, and this was a pre-internet age, all right? And they dropped me off late. I didn't even know if I was in the right place. I was just like by myself in this church parking lot. I see a group of kids off in the corner, like dressed like Hitler Youths, you know? If you're confused, Google Hitler Youth and Google Boy Scout uniform. They're the exact same thing, all right? Someone cooked there. And I walk up to this group of kids, and you know they're doing like the flag ceremony. Like that's when you find out who the autistic kid is. He's way too into folding it, dude. Like he's gonna do great things in ROTC. And I remember he dropped it, and like in slow motion, we all just watched it bounce off the ground. You know, we're like, oh, that's not good. I remember our scoutmaster just looked off in the distance and went, well, we gotta burn it. And I raised my hand. I was like, lighting stuff on fire is why I'm here. I'll do that right now. And we burned the American flag, and like within the first 5 minutes of me doing Boy Scouts, I was like, this is fucking sick, dude. And then like we went into the church. I thought we were gonna have a normal Boy Scout ceremony. Who was waiting for us? Every cop in the city that I lived in, because my scoutmaster and his teenage son were selling drugs out of the back of the church, you guys. Yeah, and they did not go peacefully, okay? There was a high-speed chase involving a PT Cruiser. Do you know what one of those cars looks like taking a speed bump at 80 miles an hour? Like a hippo moving through water, dude. Everyone inside just like doing this. Rightfully so, the parents were called because the scoutmaster was arrested. So we were just in this church by ourselves, and the cops were like, oh, we should call their parents. My mom came and picked me up, and like my parents are from that generation of people where they just don't talk about their problems, okay? So I got in the back of her Volvo, and she went, well, that's Boy Scouts, and just drove away. Dropped me off at my dad's house, and he was like, how was Boy Scouts, dude? I was like, how was Boy Scouts? It's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. When can I go back? The answer was never. And they never told me that that's not what Boy Scouts is. So I was just asking weird questions to my friends all throughout like middle school, all right? We'd be at the lunch table. I'd be like, hey, what country's flag did y'all burn this week? So I really want to do Japan for what they did to my granddad. That's a World War II joke for the fellas. Few years went by, little thing happened in America, 9/11. You guys remember that? Yeah. Legally, we can't forget, okay? I faked sick from school that day, all right? I thought I was gonna have like I thought I was gonna watch The Price is Right and crank hog, all right? Unfortunately, I watched 2,000 people die on the TV, okay? my mom realized what was going on. She came home and was like, trying to talk me through it. We were watching the TV at the time, and I don't know if you guys remember it at all, but like, the news was bouncing across to like all the reactions globally, and Dan Rather was like, we're gonna go to the Middle East and see what's happening over there, and they showed Afghanistan and all these people jumping up and down, burning American flags, and I sat up and I was like, yo, when did Boy Scouts go international? I could have studied abroad this entire time. You guys, my name's Spencer Bland. Thank you so much. Y'all been great. Hell yeah.